Hello, guys. Welcome back. I took a little bit of a break, but I'm happy to be back. I wanted something to come out that I really wanted to talk about, and I didn't want to force out a video I didn't want to do. And today something big came out that I'm, excited to talk about. So earlier this year, I would say probably not many of you know unless you follow college football, but LSU player Kyren Lacy killed himself. Now I'll give you just a short breakdown, but Kyren Lacy, he was a great football player in college. He was going to the NFL. He was going to make millions. And in April this year, he was going to have a trial because he was convicted of manslaughter. They said that he had basically caused a car crash to happen and killed somebody. Somebody died in a car crash, and they were blaming it on him, saying he was swerving in and out of traffic, and he was doing this, that, and the other. And he had basically caused this car crash, and his trial was coming up on April 14th. And so with the manslaughter charges and whatnot, he was obviously having a tough time. And 2 days before his trial, he killed himself. I'm not going to go into details what he did, but he killed himself pretty much. And for a while, it looked like, wow, he killed somebody. The trial came. It was time for him to get convicted, and he killed himself to get out of it. And this was the narrative for a while, and a lot of people were saying terrible things about him for dodging his trial. He didn't say much, and he killed himself, and he killed somebody else. And so his name was getting ran through the mud. But today, we had two things come out. The first is security footage of the car crash, and the second is body cam footage from a police officer. So it's obviously October now. It's been, almost 6 months? 6 months? 6 months now since he took his own life. And the security footage came out, showed that he was not involved in the accident at all. They say he was about 70 yards or about 200 feet back from the crash. And I'll put in the video here of the crash, and I'll let you guys look.
Behind Mr. Hall. At the time of impact, he's 72.6 yards behind the vehicles at the time of impact.
So as you can see, he's in the green Charger, by the way. He was in that green Charger. And as you can see, he is nowhere near that crash. And so obviously he drove off and whatnot. And then after, the witness was obviously taken for questioning by the police. And I'll show you what happened there.
Just right here, if you could, I'll just have you write exactly what you saw. Just make sure to include, where you were.
I don't even know what the name of that highway.
It's Highway 20. Highway 20. That you just.
All right, me and my wife gonna figure out right quick.
Okay, just make sure you add in there that you had to slam on your brakes, and the brakes, you had to slam on the brakes to avoid that charger, and the brakes locked up to avoid that charger. That's.
I ain't scared my car nothing. I wasn't even going for it. That lady in the back of me, she didn't saw what was happening. That's how she caused that wreck. And she was running in the back of me. She pulled on the other side, and that's not in it.
So, but the charger was coming right at you, correct? And that's why you had to slam on your brake, the head on with you. So yeah, just make sure you include that, and that's very important because we're trying to locate this charger right now.
Well, there you go. As you can see, the man is saying right there, the witness is saying, no, the charger didn't do this, the charger didn't do that, but the police officer is telling him, no, the charger did do that. Write it down. And so there is very clearly, police mishandlement of this case. Very obviously, the police were trying to arrest him from the beginning for something he didn't do, and it turned into him taking his own life. And this is a massive problem in the United States, and it's terrible because it takes something like this for people to realize it. There was a lot of people when Kyren Lacy took his own life, a lot of people saying stuff about him and saying he was a killer and blah, 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 and saying all kinds of horrible stuff about him. But now that this has come out, they all want to turn around and say, no, I'm sorry. And it's terrible that it has to be a professional football player for people to realize, because stuff like this happens every day in the U.S., even Canada, everywhere in the world, right? There's racism and there's issues in the judicial systems. And it's sad because people are only taking a stand because it's football and because it's sports. But at the end of the day, this happens everywhere, every day. And nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to say anything. But this is a real problem where cops will come out and they'll go for somebody just because they're a black dude. Or they'll try to get witnesses to say stuff. And it'll work. That man had his body cam on. He did that. He had his body cam on. All right, let me turn this off. Turn his body cam off. Went straight back to lying to the witness, getting the witness to lie. And it turned into a case where a man kills himself. And we don't find out till he's dead and gone 6 feet under the ground. You know what I mean? So it's terrible. And the fact that, it's so easy for them to do it and nobody stopped any of that. And you can be like, well, we caught him, we got him. But does it matter? Because at the end of the day, somebody's dead now. 2 people are dead. 2 people are dead. The person in the car crash and Kyren Lacy. And it's terrible. And people will sit here and say nothing about it and act like it's not a problem. And then the people that do act like it's a problem, they don't take it seriously. Because everybody that said stuff about Kyren Lacy in April and May, now they're coming out and apologizing, but they're not changing their ways, They'll come out and say, oh, I was wrong. I shouldn't have said that, And then the next day they'll say the same thing about something like the Charlotte light rail. You know what I mean? If you know about that, I'm not going to go into detail on that. But there's stuff like that every day, and people just ignore it. And this just shows that it's a problem, And obviously it's terrible that it takes a famous person dying to get attention. But at the same time, we need attention. You know what I mean? This needs attention. And if you don't think that there's a problem with the police and the racism in America, then you're sorely mistaken. And don't get me wrong, every single day there is people that will come out and say good things, and they'll do the right thing. But there are so many terrible things that happen every day. And it's become a problem. Now, at the same time, people will take some things out of proportion and call things racist when they aren't. But it really shows that we have a problem, and if we don't fix it, it's only going to get worse, because everyday people are getting problems like this, and nobody's getting attention for it. You know what I mean? There was probably a crash like that today where somebody got in a crash and a Charger drove by, and a police officer profiled the Charger and put a black man in jail for no reason. And it's not going to get no attention because he wasn't a famous football player. And he's sitting in jail right now, and there's no chance that he's getting out. So think about that. There's not a big moral to the story. I just wanted to bring this to light, because I think although racism gets talked about every day and all the time, it seems like nobody's ever doing anything about it, and nobody ever wants to put something forward. And I think this is the time where we really gotta put the hammer to the nail and do something about it and talk about it. And a lot of people are talking about it, and of course I got to get on it and talk about it, because that's what's important. Because at the end of the day, I think a lot of the people that watch my stuff, maybe they don't follow this kind of stuff. They don't follow sports and whatnot, and they might not hear about this story. And so I'm happy to get this story out to as many people as I can, because I know that racism is a problem and we need to fix it. And so whatever we can do to get it out there and make it better, let's do it. So thank you for watching. Obviously I enjoy making these videos, or I wouldn't make them. I hope something bad doesn't happen, but for a good video idea come around, I'll be happy to make one. So thanks for watching, and I hope you guys just think about this and keep Kyren Lacy in your prayers, his family. I know it's been a while since he died, but this is definitely still a problem, and hopefully things get better.